Hi there, it's Audrey. Welcome back to my channel. Today is day 2 of my Summer Scrapping Series. Thank you for joining me again or visiting for the first time. Today my guest is Virginia Walker, and I'm super excited to have Virginia. She owns Confessions of a Paper Addict cut file store, and I actually used one of her cut files yesterday on my layout. So please go check out her own personal YouTube channel though, where she uses a lot of her cut files because she has amazing gorgeous pages, and she has a Facebook group too, so please go check those out. So I am going to kind of do a somewhat traditional page. I don't know, maybe traditional is not the right word, but I usually use a lot of cut files, and ironically I'm not using one today. I am doing some mixed media, but I'm kind of just doing something pretty simple. I bought this pack of die cuts and sticker sheet. It's a new line from Simple Stories. I think it's called Sunshine and Blue Skies. And I only bought the die cuts and the stickers. I didn't buy any pattern paper to go with it. So I decided that I was just going to use some cardstock and kind of, I don't know, jazz up my cardstock a little bit with some texture paint and mists and such, and then just use my cardstock and the die cuts. So I'm not doing anything too fancy. So I am going to do some kind of like a white border around the edge of my main design, and I didn't want to just have it just plain white. I wanted to add something to it. So I am using this texture paste, and I cannot remember where I got this paste from. And as I was trying to think about where I got it from, I actually think somebody sent it to me as part of a Christmas exchange. And so if you're the person who did that, thank you very much, because it's just the type of stuff I like to use. But this paste actually has a grittiness to it, almost like it has sand in it, which I didn't know when I started using it, but as I was spreading it on, it definitely had a rough texture. So I picked up the stencil from Echo Park, and I just went around. It took quite a while to dry. So while it's drying, I'm going to move on to the other part of my page. So like I said, I was going to use the white cardstock for my border, and I'm going to use this pink cardstock and add some mixed media to the background as the place where I'm going to house my photos, I guess. So I wanted to go for a more peachy look, and as I mentioned in my last video, I just got a huge stash of Distress Oxide sprays, so I have been very eager to use those, and so I'm kind of just experimenting with them here. I'm not quite getting the peach color that I wanted. It's a little bit too orange or too yellow for me, so I'm just going to play around with a whole bunch of my inks and mists and paints and see what I can create. So I started with a couple of the Distress Oxide sprays. I'm now moving on to a Shimmers ink or watercolor. The yellow spot in the middle there, I knew my photos were going to kind of be in the middle, so you know, I just added a few drops of yellow there to see if I liked it, and I didn't really want it to be that yellow, so I can cover that right up with my photo. I have cut, by the way, I have cut this cardstock down, this piece of cardstock to, I think it's 10 by 10, and I'm going to put this on top of my 12 by 12 white cardstock. This is more of the peach color I was going for. That's the Heidi Swapp Color Shine. I think it's just called Coral. And then a little bit of mustard. I think that's it. Just pick up the excess there. And there are my photos. Okay, so my texture paste there has dried. Again, that was just to kind of give the white border a little oomph. And my plan was to use up a whole bunch of these die cuts, again, because I didn't have any of the pattern paper. I thought I would just load my page with die cuts. So I'm going to have all of these die cuts kind of sticking out from the border. And they're very colorful. Obviously, you can see a lot of rainbow colors there. And that's why I kind of stuck to the white and pink peachy cardstock as my base, and I'm not using any pattern paper because I think the stickers and the die cuts will do the job of adding you know, all the pattern and design and color to the page. So there's some umbrella stickers, there's some leaves, there's some summery fruits, there's a couple raft pictures, which obviously my kids are playing on a raft in my photos, but they weren't exactly, the rafts and the die cuts and the stickers weren't exactly what I wanted to use, so I'm just going to stick with a couple of the other things. I love the flip-flops. I like the rainbow surfboard. So again, I'm just going to tuck a couple of things here and there. And I'm actually surprised at how fast I went through these and fit them around my border, because it usually takes me a while to design a page, and this one didn't really take me that long at all. I thought I would use the letters for summer, but they kind of just look like they're hanging out there, like floating on that pink background, so I need to do something to ground those a little bit more, so I'll come back to that in a minute. And the word love, while it's cute, I think it was getting lost in the background inks and stuff, so I'm going to take the word love off there because it just wasn't defined as well. I think that would look better on a solid background rather than a painted one. So I'm happy with my cluster of embellishments there. And now I'm going to kind of bring in some of these colors and a couple of embellishments around my photos. Just a few, because again, I have the word summer that has all the colors in it, and I still do want the focus to be, on my photos too. So I guess I'll just talk about my photos quickly while I'm adding my embellishments here. The kids made up this game, jumping off the dock and jumping on top of the tube raft. So this is kind of like a tube raft, but it has a solid bottom, but they flipped the raft upside down, and they were trying to jump from the dock, and I guess they were having a little competition to see who could jump the furthest and land on the raft, and it was actually pretty cute. And of course, they entertain themselves with ours. I love when they make up games like this on their own, and they actually play together and have fun. So I wanted something behind my photo. Again, I didn't want to use any pattern paper, so I'm just going to use this. This is a mixed media sheet from ThermoWeb. It is the lightweight mixed media sheets. It's kind of like a tissue paper, like an interfacing. You can tear it as you saw me do, and it just adds a nice soft border to the edge of your page. So apparently I'm going to go back and add a little bit more inks here. I'm going to use some white. I don't know why I didn't think of the white earlier, but I think it's just to help me tie in the white that's around the edge of the border. So this mixed media sheet, this interfacing sheet, it doesn't really work well with liquid glue, so I'm going to use a tape runner here. And then I thought I needed to do something to ground my word summer and my photos, so I just cut a piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to trim it just enough to mount my photos and the title on it. But I'm going to do a punch along the bottom. This punch kind of looks like waves. There's a nice shot of my hair right there. Boy, high definition isn't really that great when it's showing a close-up of your head. So I'm going to use this to put my letters, and I think they stand out a lot better. And I lined up the middle of my word with the middle of my photos, so I put the M's on first and then worked from the edges out. And I think that makes that title stand out a lot more. I'm going to pop off these little sunglasses and pop off these flowers. And just center that down. So I'm going to go through and just add a little dab of glue to these die cuts underneath the edge of my top piece of cardstock there, because my plan is to stitch around the pink cardstock, and that will help keep all these die cuts in place. And if you notice, I'm just adding glue just to the part of the die cut that's kind of sticking underneath the pink cardstock, because I kind of like to fold up the edges of my die cuts a little bit, so just to give them a little bit of depth, I don't know, and little dimension, just to make them look like they're not so flat, that they look more layered on top of each other. So by just gluing the ends, you can achieve that look to fold them up. All right, what am I going to do? I guess I'm going to add a few more stickers. Am I happy? Yes. So now I'm going to go glue this pink sheet down. I'm going to edge distress it first. This edge distressor has to be one of my most used tools, I think. I use it on pretty much every page. Okay, and the reason I like using liquid glue, especially when you're going to stitch, is I find that if you stitch over tape runners, the tape tends to gum up your sewing machine needle. So stitching over glue that dries quickly, I think, is just a lot better for your needle and for your page. So you can see my stitching I did, and that helped secure all those die cuts. I'm going to back my photo with some craft foam to make it pop off. Well, not just the photo, the whole kind of block there with my photo and title. I finally found a tape runner that works pretty good on my craft foam. It's just a Scotch tape runner, so I thought I'd give it a shot, and it works pretty good. And so that's mounted, and what else do I add? I add a label sticker. I'm going to put it in the bottom. I don't know, I just thought it looked better there. And I added my journaling on the little sunshine in the top left and the flip-flop in the bottom. And that does it. So yeah, pretty quick and easy page. No pattern paper, just using up my die cuts. And I still have a ton of die cuts in this pack and a ton of stickers on the sticker sheet. So I have a lot more pages I can create. So that is it for day 2. Thank you so much for stopping by. Be sure to check out Virginia's channel, and I will see you tomorrow for my day 3 page. Thanks so much for watching, and stay scrappy, friends.